Okay, this is probably going to be a quick review. I've literally just gone out the shower like a few seconds ago. Got changed and I'm just going to do this quick review of the Blair Witch Project. So I bought it for £3 in HMV, and here's a weird little story. So in HMV, I was looking at the horror section and I saw the Blair Witch Project, and there were 3 copies, roughly 3 copies that I noticed in the in the B section of the horror section. And they had one which was for £3, which is obviously the one I ended up buying. Then they had another one which was for like £5 or £6 I think. And then they had another one for £10. And it's not as if one was like a 2-disc special edition or Blu-ray or anything. They were all DVDs, all the same version, and they were just different prices for some reason. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of weird, but obviously I went for the cheaper version. So on to a rather quick review, I guess. So for those of you who don't know the story, 3 people, Heather, I don't know the characters' names, it's 2 guys, 1 girl, I guess they're close friends. They all go out into the woods, into a forest, to film a documentary on the urban legend of the Blair Witch. And this isn't a real urban legend, by the way. This is like a fictional urban legend just for the film. It's not as if this is based off some real life urban legend or anything, like the Mothman or anything. This is just like an urban legend which only exists within the film, by the way. Anyway, they're going to make a documentary on the Blair Witch. It's something like even after watching it, I'm not 100% sure what exactly the legend was. I guess it was like a witch inhabits the woods, and I guess that's pretty much it. A witch is somewhere in the woods, and that's it. She kills people, I guess. Okay, so basically they go to make the documentary, and they go into the woods to make the documentary, and there we go. That's pretty much it. And then, as you probably guess, they are, basically the witch decides to mess around with them. And that's basically the whole movie, them being haunted or terrorised by the witch. And that's pretty much the whole entire movie right there. So it's a found footage movie. So you've seen it from the POV of the camera that they are holding all the way through, and there you go. Okay, so not much to say about it. Like, this is one of those films I've been wanting to see for ages, and I've only just now gone around to doing it, watching it. And it's like one of those really famous films, and I've only just now gone around to watching it, and it was really awesome. I really liked it. It was great. It lived up to the hype, I'll say that. So whether or not I found this scary, I wouldn't say I found this scary. It was certainly creepy at times. I will say that it was certainly creepy. I would say the creepiest scene for me, it wouldn't be like the final scene or anything like that. The final scene I thought was anticlimactic. I'll get to that later. But the creepiest scene to me was when they find all of the symbols in the woods. Like, because the symbol is kind of like a stick man. The symbol of the Blair Witch is kind of like a stick man. And at one point the characters find about, it's like hundreds of them just hanging from trees all over one area of the forest. And I just gotta say, that bit was like pretty creepy. I mean, it wasn't flat out scary, but it was definitely creepy. And I totally understand and see how some people would find this film terrifying. I don't blame them. Like, it didn't, personally, like I just said, personally I didn't find it terrifying. I didn't find it flat out scary, but it was definitely creepy in parts. I will say the characters were well written as well. I heard that the actors, was it ad-lib? I'm not quite sure what the word is. Ad-lib, I'll just say that. I'm aware that some of the actors ad-libbed some of their lines, and they did a damn good job. The acting's really great, and the way the characters react is really realistic. Just the way the characters react to the situation and how they just argue and stuff, everything like that. I just think it's well acted, and the way the characters react to one another and the situation, it's just really well done. So I really like the film in that regard. It's just really realistic. It's just, yeah, really realistic. For example, one scene I really liked, in which I thought the character reacted really well to, was when the girl's against the tree. She's like crying, and then the guy's kind of this is like well into the film, about 3/4 through the film, and the other guy's like breaking down. He's really freaking out, and then for a change, he's holding the camera, and he's kind of like just shouting at the girl, like blaming her. He's like, "This is your motivation. No one's around to help you. This is witch. She's leaving shit outside your door." He's saying stuff like that. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. So if you've seen the film and you know what I'm talking about, I'm saying that scene was really well done. Just the way the characters reacted in that scene was really cool. I really liked that. And this is kind of like one of those films where it's like an infinite area, or infinity, however you pronounce that. Kind of like Dead End. I really like that movie where it's like an infinite road. If you read some of the entries on the SCP Foundation website, like the staircase or the cabinet maze, it's kind of like that. This film is basically one of those films where it's like an infinite area. In this case it's to the woods, where it just goes on and on and on and there's no escape. Okay, so I think, yeah, so that's really all I had to say. I mean, it's a quick review. It was really creepy in some parts, and I totally understand why some people would find it just flat out terrifying. The film is great. The acting and the way the characters are written and react, that's really well done. And this is one of few films where I won't, like, you know, in some found footage movies, for example, when they're being chased or something really, well, when something interesting happens on screen, like the monster attacks or something, in most cases in found footage movies, the guy holding the camera drops it, or like the camera points at the floor, so you can't see shit, that you can't see what's going on. I find that really annoying. Well, yeah, sure, I guess it could be realistic, but at the same time it's really annoying. The Blair Witch Project was one of few found footage movies that never actually did that. So whenever something interesting is happening on screen, the camera never goes on to the floor or anything. You get to see what's happening. But to be fair, nothing really interesting happened on screen. I mean, interesting stuff did happen, but I'm saying nothing ever happened in terms of like something jumping out and just killing someone. Like, that sort of stuff never happened. It was more of what was happening around the environment. Like, you never get any like actual physical body harm or any money shots in the film. So I guess, you know, that's why the camera never looks at the floor. That's why the characters never actually freak out and just look at the floor with the camera and you never see anything. So I didn't get annoyed by that, but that's basically because nothing really happened which, you know, would startle the characters that much until the finale of the film. Yeah, so on to the ending now. This is probably going to be the end of the review. You know, it's a quick review, but so the ending, I'm kind of mixed about it. Like, what you don't see is scarier. Some people like to think that, like, whatever. Lazy filmmaking is, I'm not sure if it's lazy filmmaking or just well done. Because you kind of like write yourself into a corner where it's kind of like, watch, because the build-up is great. It's kind of like when you write yourself into a corner, it's what can we possibly show to the audience now which will live up to the build-up. Like, the thing which has been terrorizing these three people, are we actually going to show the witch? It's like, okay, I'm going to slightly get into spoilers here, so leave now if you don't want some minor spoilers. I'm not going to spoil the fate of the characters, I'm spoiling what they actually show of the witch and stuff, so leave now. Okay, so should have left by now if you don't want spoilers. But basically, they don't show you the witch, they don't show you anything. You know, the film ends on a pretty obvious note, but I'm saying they don't show you the witch on screen. They never show you the witch on screen. And I'm not sure if that's lazy filmmaking or just them using that as a creative choice, because it's kind of like they back themselves into a corner where what they show us is probably not going to live up to the hype. Because if they did show us the witch on screen, what the witch actually looks like, it probably would not have lived up to the hype. So I'm not sure if it's lazy filmmaking or not. Like, for example, Insidious is an example I can use. Like, in Insidious, they could have never have shown us the red-faced demon, lipstick face. They could have never have shown him. Because they describe him throughout the film. You have the sketch of him, you see the silhouette of him at one point, and they could have just not showed him at all. But I appreciate, like, James Wan and Lee Winnell, the director and writer of Insidious. I appreciate them for having the balls to actually show us the demon and not hiding behind the whole what you don't see is scary overused term. I really hate it when people say that. I'm just like, no. I really hate it when people use that. It's just really overused, I think. And I just feel as if it's lazy filmmaking, or sometimes people hide behind it because they aren't creative enough to come up with something. You know, I just feel as if it's like that. It's lazy, and like it's like they're not creative enough to come up with something. But in some cases, it is just true that what they could possibly show us will never ever possibly live up to the hype or the build-up throughout the film. So I'm kind of mixed about the ending, because they don't have a money shot. You never see the Blair Witch. It's obvious the witch is present. Clearly the legend is real. So all of that, it's pretty obvious. but they never actually show you the witch, so it's all left to your imagination. So I'm just left kind of mixed in my opinions about whether or not it's a good creative choice, because at the same time it is actually left me wanting more. Like I am left wanting more. I am left thinking about the film, and you know, so I'm not sure. I guess it worked well, but again, I just have a hard time trying to decide whether or not it's a bad thing they didn't show us it, whether or not it's just lazy filmmaking. Because whether or not it lived up to the build-up, I would have appreciated the fact that they did actually show us the witch. If they did show us the witch, I would have appreciated the fact that they did try and show us. But at the end of the film, whatever, I still really enjoyed the film. It was a great film. Definitely watch it if you haven't seen it. And it lived up to the hype. I mean, you know, this film is always talked about. It's always said to be a really awesome film, and I really enjoyed it. So that's pretty much all I have to say about the Blair Witch Project. Thanks for watching. Bye.